$5 a piece. Congressman Eli Crane, whose congressional district is right next to where the material is being sold, said the Biden administration is purposefully hamstringing Trump before he takes office. The lieutenant governor of Texas says that he and the governor spoke last night about purchasing the wall. He says a lot of the sections are junk, covered in concrete and rust, but if any of it's able to be used to build a border wall, he says Texas will buy the section and give them to Trump when he takes office. Someone wrote on Twitter, now X, that a email client through X would be cool. Elon responded, yeah, on the list of things to do. Gmail, run by Google, has a 76% share of the email market in America. 121 billion emails sent a day. We'll see if Elon can make a dent in that. Elon has become the first person to have a net worth over $400 billion. I'm Mike Slater from the podcast Politics by Faith. The great Bill O'Reilly has your message of the day. Next.
Are you feeling the impact of recent timeshare industry changes? Now more than ever, the costs of timeshare ownership far outweigh the benefits. My friends at Lone Star Transfer are the only company I trust to help you get out. Our listeners' positive feedback demonstrates why I've supported the company for years. For more than a decade, they have helped over 20,000 owners get out of the timeshare. Their exclusive options can help you get out faster and easier, more than any other option in the country. They are the only company that will give you a written guarantee and release you from your timeshare in a specific time frame. With an A+ rating at the Better Business Bureau, and thousands of 5-star reviews, customer service is their top priority. For free consultation and a guaranteed solution, please call 855-551-7066. That's 855-551-7066, or go to LoneStarTransfer.com.
The Republican Party of the City of St. Louis wishes you a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays, no matter how you celebrate the season. Join the City of St. Louis Republicans for their annual holiday party, December 18th at PH Rose. There'll be a silent auction, raffle, and plenty of holiday cheer. Go to stl-gop.com to get your tickets and learn more. The City of St. Louis Republicans wish you a joyous holiday season and a prosperous new year.
Paid for by St. Louis City Republican PAC, Curtis Farber, Treasurer.
Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Gene Evans, former state representative, former executive director of the Missouri Republican Party.
The National Party and the State Party have had school choice in their platform, parent empowerment. Donald Trump's agenda, and he's mentioned it several times lately, he talked about it a lot when he was president, is school choice. A state that 100% backs Trump is not going to take a major piece of agenda out of their platform. They're just not.
Weekday mornings, 5:30 to 9 on News Talk STL.
Time now for the O'Reilly Update message of the day. On this Monday, let's call the movie Trumpy 4. Time magazine has named Donald Trump Person of the Year. Predictable, because he is Person of the Year with his dramatic political comeback. And if you look at the complete saga from top to bottom, it is like Rocky. Yo, Adrian. The contender wins the title, 2016. Then he gets knocked out in 2020. Then they try to put him away forever, and he comes back from that with the cases, the criminal cases, and the smearing by the press, and on and on. And then the ultimate Trumpy 4, he wins the presidency again. What a flick. Now, I think Donald Trump's political comeback is the strongest political movement in our history ever. And it has to do with a man who simply would not stop. And that is the lesson for every American, whether you like Trump or not. If you are relentless in the pursuit of your goals, you are much more likely to succeed. Most people give up when they get hammered down. Trump almost got killed, defiant to the end, and he emerges the most powerful man in the world once again. Trumpy 4 playing at a theater near you. I'm Bill O'Reilly. I approve the message by writing it. You can reach me Bill at BillO'Reilly.com, Bill at BillO'Reilly.com, name and town if you wish to opine. Now let's go to the mail. David Hasway, Hendersonville, North Carolina. Hey, Bill. J.D. Vance was in Western North Carolina recently to view hurricane damage. Since he and President Trump are not sworn in yet, are taxpayers paying for the travel? No. Political action committees on the Republican side pay for all of the Trump stuff now. That will not kick in until he is sworn in as president, the federal stuff. William Lowens, Estero, Florida. Bill, how much money do you figure David Penny will owe his lawyers? And do you think his life will ever get back to normal? I think his life will get back to normal, but he'll always have it, But psychologically, that's got to be brutal. Brutal. I estimate the lawyers' fees, $2.5 million. And the GoFundMe and all that will cover it. And the money that isn't going to legal fees is going to be donated to mental health charities, I understand. So they're responsible. This whole thing was run very well by Penny's lawyers. Very responsible. Susan on the message board, all the folks in prison since J6 need to be released. I disagree. You violent that day, you hurt somebody, attacked a cop, went somebody's office, trashed it. You gotta pay, another cliche, the piper. But if you're just wandering around and you got caught up in it, should be reviewed. You got to be reasonable here. In a moment, something you might not know. Many believe President Trump's victory is a big win for the American economy because Bidenomics really punished many Americans. I rely on physical precious metals like gold and silver to safeguard my retirement savings. And the only precious metals company I trust is American Hartford Gold. A tax-advantaged gold IRA can protect your savings from inflation, recession, and stock market downturns. You can roll over your 401k or IRA tax and penalty free. With thousands of five-star ratings, an A+ from the Better Business Bureau, American Hartford Gold has delivered billions in precious metals. Act now. Call or text American Hartford Gold today. Tell them Bill O'Reilly sent you for up to $15,000 of free silver on qualifying offers. Here's the number, 877-444-GOLD, or you can text GOLD Gold to 65532. That's 877-444-GOLD or text GOLD to 65532.
Here's a great way to save money on your prescription medications. If you take Viagra or Cialis, we can give you a way to pay as little as $2 a pill. Compare that to prices as high as $60 per tablet. These pills work for men and women to improve their sexual performance. And now for the price of 2 or 3 pills, you can get nearly 100. There's no need to pay expensive prices for Viagra or Cialis. Call now with your prescription and pay as little as $2 a pill. We offer 24/7 service and always free delivery and confidential packaging. Change your life for the better and have fun. Call Pharmacy Shop 24/7 to get generic versions of Viagra or Cialis for as little as $2 a pill, plus free discreet shipping.
800-631-2030. 800-631-2030. 800-631-2030. That's 800-631-2030.
Now the O'Reilly Update brings you something you might not know. 251 years ago today, angry colonists dumped hundreds of pounds of British cargo into Boston Harbor. The symbolic act of defiance inspired America's founders to rebel against England. Here is the story of the Boston Tea Party. In May 1773, London granted the British East India Company a monopoly on the sale of tea in the American colonies. The order stifled local business people and trade with other countries. When 3 ships, the Dartmouth, the Eleanor, and the Beaver, arrived in Massachusetts, the colonists demanded that the products, the tea, be sent back to England. Well, in response, the royal governor of Massachusetts ordered the locals to buy the tea and buy it fast. And that did not sit well with the Patriots, who organized into the Sons of Liberty. At midnight on December 16th, 1773, 60 men wearing outfits taken from native tribes to conceal their identities boarded the boats and dumped 350 containers of tea into the Atlantic Ocean. Total amount of goods destroyed, valued at $18,000 back then. Today, the tea would be worth $500,000. Outraged Parliament enacted even more rules against the colonies, including the Intolerable Acts of 1774. The English Crown closed Boston to merchant shipping, established formal British military rule, made English officials immune to criminal prosecution, and required the colonists to house royal troops and feed them as well. The Tea Party was the first major act of defiance against London by the North Americans. It rallied patriots across the 13 colonies to fight for independence. And here's something else you might not know. While broadly popular with the American public, the Tea Party was scorned by a few of the founding fathers. Benjamin Franklin demanded the Sons of Liberty reimburse the British for the dumped cargo. George Washington wrote he was disappointed that, quote, Bostonians had gone mad. Back after this. Did you know every day is a perfect day for peace of mind? With American Home Shield warranty, you are covered for unexpected breakdowns like leaky faucets or faulty water heaters. Choose a plan that fits your budget and rest easy knowing repairs and replacements are taken care of. Simply contact American Home Shield when an issue arises, and their trusted pros will handle it according to your coverage. Don't let worries about appliances and home systems weigh you down. Celebrate the reassurance of protection. Don't worry, be warranty. For 20% off plans, visit ahs.com/bill. For more details, see ahs.com/contracts for coverage details, including limit amounts, fees, limitations, and exclusions. Thank you for listening to the O'Reilly Update. I am Bill O'Reilly. No spin, just facts, and always looking out for you.
News, analysis, opinion. News Talk STL. KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefontaine, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters reporting. A student opened fire at Abundant Life Christian School in Madison, Wisconsin today, killing a teacher and a student before committing suicide. Madison Police Chief Sean Barnes tells WKOW-TV when officers arrived on the scene, they found multiple shooting victims.
Around 10:57 a.m., officers responded to an active shooter. They responded per our protocol. They found the person who they believed was responsible, who was down, deceased. We know that it's juvenile. We know that there are other persons who have lost their lives.
Police say other people were hurt with injuries ranging from minor to life-threatening. President-elect Trump held his first news conference since his election last November. Trump says the Biden administration is selling off parts of border wall that were bought but not installed during his term.
The administration is trying to sell it for 5 cents on the dollar, knowing that we're getting ready to put it up. And what they're doing is really an act. It's almost a criminal act. They know we're going to use it, and if we don't have it, we're going to have to rebuild it, and it'll cost double what it cost years ago, and that's hundreds of millions of dollars.
He also weighed in on other topics, saying the country was not going to lose the polio vaccine and the flurry of drone sightings over New Jersey. The press conference was held at Mar-a-Lago. TikTok's asking the Supreme Court to step in on an emergency basis to block the federal law that would ban the popular platform in the United States unless its China-based parent company agrees to sell it. company lawyers in China-based ByteDance on Monday urged the justices to act before the law's January 19th deadline. On Wall Street, the Dow down by 110 points. More at townhall.com.
I want you to be realistic about December. We're going to have lots of treats, lots of temptations. It's got to be the worst month of the year in terms of eating right. But look, don't stuff treats, meats, and dishes into your mouth without Balance of Nature every single day. Balance of Nature is made from whole fruit and veggie ingredients, and you should not skip taking these daily supplements. I never do. So one thing I get right, because feeling good is important to me, especially in December. Join me in pushing back against the dreaded December crash. Get Balance of Nature today. Use the discount code Mike G. Sign up as a new customer, and we're going to get you 35% off, plus free shipping and their money-back guarantee. This is an awesome December discount, but you got to use my promo code Mike G. Come on, join me on the Balance of Nature story. Call 800-246-8751 and use the discount code Mike G. 800-246-8751, discount code Mike G, or order online at balanceofnature.com. Use the discount code Mike G to get 35% off, plus free shipping from Balance of Nature.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm First Alert 4 Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton. Colder tonight, but we are staying dry. Waking up temperatures in the mid-30s. Normal low is 28. That's actually still above normal, but it's just not going to be as mild in the morning. However, the afternoon's not bad. Mostly sunny and a high of 54 degrees. It's going to cloud up pretty quickly around the evening drive, and there is a chance for a few scattered showers, rain showers, in the evening Tuesday and Tuesday night. Those look to be gone by Wednesday, which will be partly to mostly sunny, breezy, and a high of 45 as it cools down a little bit more by the middle of the week. That's the latest from the First Alert 4 Weather Center. I'm Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by Chris Cooper and Serenity Wealth Management. Discover little-known strategies that could be the difference between choosing the care you deserve or having someone else decide it for you. Get a free copy of Chris's book at serenityltc.com.
From home improvement to replacement, do-it-yourself electrical projects can be shocking. That's where Grasser Electric can help. They've been lighting up St. Louis for years. From ceiling fans and dimmer switches to repair or replacing your electric. No job is too big or too small for your home or business. Grasser Electric will even install emergency backup generators. So call Grasser Electric today before the sparks start to fly. 636-441-5200 or go to grasserelectric.com.
In the fast-paced world of digital marketing, making connections is a challenge for any business. But what if we told you there is a place where connections aren't just made, they're grown? Meet 2060 Digital, your premier Google partner and top-tier digital agency. We don't just follow trends, we set them. At 2060 Digital, we're not just another agency, we're your strategic partner. We dive deep into your challenges and develop solutions that drive measurable outcomes. Ready to elevate your digital presence with campaigns that connect? Google 2060 Digital today.
Here's my problem.
Completely agree with your sentiments.
He talks about we're divided. Well, yeah, we are.
And we need to wake up as a country and realize what's going on.
101.9 and 94.1.
Number one for conservative talk.
News Talk STL. Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
The 9 most terrifying words in the English language are, I'm from the government and I'm here to help.
The more you remove voting from Election Day, the more opportunity you're offering for people to commit fraud.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
I think the Democrats are so short-sighted in this tactic they have now to just cheat at any cost to win elections.
You're a lying dog-faced pony soldier. You said you were, but now you got to be honest. I'm going to be honest with you.
What are we doing wrong here?
As a former leader in the House, I think you can put your finger on it. It's called leadership. We don't have it.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps.
But this will be the most exciting and successful period of reform and renewal in all of American history, maybe of global history. The golden age of America, I call it. It's begun. So it's the golden age of America, and that's what it's going to be. And we hope we don't have any intervening problems, because things happen. Like out of nowhere came the China virus. Out of nowhere came other things we don't want to have. You know, when I left, we had no wars. We had no problems. The Middle East was good. We did the Abraham Accords. We did things that nobody thought were even possible. We will not rest until America is richer, safer, and stronger than it has ever been before.
I love how China virus just rolls off the tongue. Welcome to the Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show, Monday edition, December the 16th, 2024. It's the week before the Christmas holiday. I don't know, Eve of Christmas Eve week. I'm not sure what to say it is, but you can already tell things are slightly slowing down as a lot of folks will begin taking off as we get closer and closer to the week. But we thank you for joining us and not taking the day off. I'm Tim Jones. I'm here today with Chris Arps. He's off today, but he'll be back tomorrow. He is heading over to mid-Missouri land. Chris and his wonderful wife, Becky, they are going to attend the annual Missouri Republican Party Christmas party. And I believe they're featuring at the party special guest, Governor-elect Mike Kehoe, and I'll bet all the other statewides and a lot of reps and senators will be there as well. So hopefully and expectedly, I would expect Chris to come back with all sorts of stories to tell us tomorrow when he's back with us for the rest of the week. Producer Joey V by my side as always here, except on Friday when he ditched us. But we had producer Johnny in instead. Joey, how many hundreds of movies did you watch on Friday?
You know, this job is just so hard. I had to take a day off just to catch up. I was working all day, but I didn't have to come in and do Tim and Chris. So I actually did watch a couple. One was Carry On. It's like this new Christmas movie where Jason Bateman is a bad guy and he messes with the TSA.
Okay.
It's on Netflix. It's all right. There's some good action scenes, but I wish I had time for more. I'm going to take another day off here soon so I can catch up.
And then we have a few days off because we're going to be allowed a couple lumps of coal and Christmas Day off, along with some others. I'm teasing. Very generous to us here with the holiday schedule. I'll be taking some time off around the holidays. Until then, though, we've got a ton to relate to you. Jam-packed lineup today, as always. And unfortunately, I do need to start the show off with some very sad, tragic news. I'm sure many, if not all of you, have heard by now that there was a school shooting in Madison, Wisconsin, that has left 2 dead, plus the juvenile suspect who is allegedly a student at the school. 6 have been injured. 2 of those 6 are in critical conditions with life-threatening injuries. 4 are in the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. This happened at the Abundant Life Christian School in Madison, Wisconsin. This just tears at your heart. It's absolutely horrid. Let me tell you what I know, courtesy of Fox News. At least 2 people were killed. 6 others were injured in a school shooting in Madison, Wisconsin today, Monday, with police saying that the suspected shooter was found dead at the scene upon their arrival. During an update Monday afternoon, Madison Police Chief Sean Barnes, I listened to a big chunk of the press conference with Jeff Allen, and I want to say this police chief's a very impressive guy. I mean, it was nothing but the facts, ma'am. And he also, you could just tell there was emotion in his voice as well, along with the fire chief. So very professional, but yet, acting like human beings. The police chief, Sean Barnes, said a teacher and a teen student were killed. Again, horribly tragic. Barnes added 2 students are in critical condition with life-threatening injuries, as I had mentioned. A handgun used by the shooter and the shooting was confined to one space at the school. Interesting. Barnes said, a motive for the shooting has yet to be determined. Every child, every person in that building is a victim and will be a victim forever. We need to figure out and try to piece together what exactly happened. So said Police Chief Sean Barnes. He added that the shooter's family is currently cooperating with the police. And let's see, what else here? He said he did not believe the school, which serves 200 students, according to the school's website, had a school resource officer. At roughly 10:57 a.m. Central Time, police responded to reports of an active shooter at the Abundant Life Christian School. They identified a juvenile deceased at the scene who they believe was responsible for the shooting. They are encouraging local residents to avoid the area. They haven't said yet if the juvenile shooter died courtesy of a self-inflicted gunshot wound, but that implication is out there, but we don't know yet, folks. We don't know yet. They have not explained the mechanism of death yet. So our thoughts, our prayers, and our hearts go out today to everyone in and around Madison, and especially the victims and the families at that school. We'll continue to keep posted on that as we get any further details in. In addition to that, we had a whole host of other news today, some much more on the optimistic and happier side. Donald Trump, as the sound that I played coming in, Donald Trump hosted a as he often is wont to do, a rather extended press conference that covered just about everything. What a refreshing change of pace. Isn't it amazing that going back to normal is now defined by an administration that the left and the media told us previously was Nazi, fascist, Hitler, Mussolini, right? But that was normal today. Now, you may say Donald Trump's got his own unique style, and boy, does he like to what would I say? I was going to say live stream himself, but it's like stream of consciousness. Sometimes it sounds stream of consciousness, but you can tell the guy, look, Donald Trump's a smart guy. A lot of times I think I'm not comparing myself to Donald Trump, but I understand what he does. I often have a bazillion thoughts in my head, and a 2-hour radio show is not often enough time to get them all out. So a lot of times I'll cram a bunch of subjects into an answer or into a question. And so I basically have a Trump decoder ring, right? So, he does have wide ranging press conferences, but you know what? On the normal side of things, he has a press conference. How different is that than the last 4 years, where the not most transparent, I would argue the least transparent administration in recent modern American history. It's hard to go back and look at the videotapes from the 1800s because they didn't exist. But as far as modern history goes and modern press conferences, Joe Biden had the least transparent administration, gave any press conferences. And honestly, we now know that he physically really couldn't, but the lie continued there too. Everything about this administration that's outgoing, thank the good Lord. And I'm not taking his name in vain. I'm truly praising and thanking him as I look up to heaven, because now we're going to have a president who's not afraid of giving a press conference. He's physically able to give a press conference, and he's willing to give a press conference. 3 things that the Biden administration did not want or could not do. And so the return to normalcy is that, along with many other things. And the huge announcement that he made kind of as part of the keystone of that press conference was the fact that he had on the CEO of SoftBank. The SoftBank CEO and Donald Trump today announced at the outset of that press conference a $100 billion, kind of like Mike Myers and Austin Powers would say, 100 billion, Dr. Evil, 100 billion, but this is not evil, this is good, $100 billion investment in the U.S. by SoftBank. And the SoftBank CEO, I'll try to pronounce his name, Masayoshi. There we go. Masayoshi Son announced a $100 billion investment. And basically he said he's making this investment because he feels good about America becoming great again. So as Tony was talking about during his show, Donald Trump basically has stretched his presidency into like an extra couple of months, almost 3 extra months, because he hit the ground running immediately after the election. We saw the spike in the stock market. Now things have kind of come back to the reality, I think, in the stock market that Joe Biden's still president and can still absolutely screw things up over the next, 35 days or so. But hold on, as Vic would say, he's coming. And this SoftBank CEO, along with a lot of other CEOs and a lot of, and even just, it's not just the ultra rich and wealthy, it's the small business mom and pop owners as well. I can tell you that Rick Pogue, Jake Kessner, his partner over at Johnny's Hideout, they're excited about next year as small business owners here in the St. Louis region with their enterprise of Johnny's Hideout. We were speaking with, who were we talking to? Chris's gang, Elite, the Elite HVAC guys. They're excited about next year because they said, look, there's certainty coming back in. I know Everett Jones is excited. Oh, Eric Swanson. We had Eric on last week when we drew the winner of the Newsteaders giveaway. And he said Richard and he and everybody at the store, Diana and the rest, they're excited. It's a return to normalcy. It's also a return to certainty, being much more certain about what an administration is going to do for you instead of what the Biden-Harris administration has been doing to you over the last few weeks. So we had the Donald Trump headline as well regarding the $100 billion investment, 100,000 jobs potentially being created all in and around the artificial intelligence industry. And some other big news that we had over the weekend. And that's why we have Jim Talent joining us every Monday afternoon, because we usually have a whole host, especially during the Biden administration, of chaos and crises around the world that we have to discuss. Yes, ongoing fallout regarding the deposing of Bashar Assad in Syria. Assad has fled to Mother Russia. Putin has put him up. Yeah, one dictator behooves the other, right? Assad today in a Fox News headline painting himself as custodian to Syria. Oh, how bold of him. How nice. As picture unfolds on collapse of Damascus. We also have other news coming out of the Russia-Ukraine war. Of course, the conflagration, the raging, continuing in the Middle East, although things seem to have kind of calmed there as well. Again, I think there is that specter of Donald Trump coming back in and cleaning house, and lots of other national and international news to report. And we're going to get Senator Tallant's views and opinions on these ongoing drone sightings. Are they planes? Are they trains? Are they automobiles flying around the sky? What the heck are they? Where are they coming from? What are they doing? Do we need to worry about them? Do not? We're getting conflicting answers, as usual, out of the Biden-Harris administration. Donald Trump addressed this over the weekend in the Sunday Talkers, and of course, they didn't like what he had to say because they never like anything he has to say, although what he says is largely normalcy. So lots of headlines on that to cover with Jim Talent. Ask him about the national security implications of drones flying all over our eastern coastal U.S. Let's see. At 5:07, the Speaker Stump Speech found a great piece in a online publication that I discovered a couple weeks ago called The American Mind. Really fantastic online resource. And the title of this, it was something written by Robert Alt, who is, I think, yes, he's the president and CEO of the Buckeye. Oh, I know the Buckeye guys. The Buckeye Institute, of course, you know where that is, the Buckeye State in Ohio. He wrote this around Thanksgiving, but I think it's appropriate as we're heading into the Christmas, Hanukkah, New Year's Eve celebrations as well. It's a piece of reasons to be thankful of the country that we live in versus the ones we could be living in. And it's a reference back to the communist era of the once mighty, now fallen Soviet Union. It's called The Otherwise Minded. Who are the otherwise minded? Why should we pay homage to them? You're going to find out in the Speaker Stump Speech at 5:07. Susie Moore, Deputy Managing Editor at Red State. I know Red State is covering everything that I've talked about today and more, from the horribly tragic school shooting in Madison, Wisconsin, to Donald Trump's announcement with the SoftBank CEO of the $100 billion investment into the United States of America and not some foreign country. The issues going on around the world and more. Oh, and top of the fold headline today in Red State. Yeah, this has been really troubling. The New York Times, Red State is reporting, just published a grotesque leftist to-do list for Joe Biden's last. How about Joe Biden do nothing during his last weeks in office? That would be maybe his greatest accomplishments. All of that, redstate.com. If you want to cheat ahead, it's going to be some of the subjects that we're going to talk about with Susie Moore at 5:25. Yeah. Hey, in the meantime, and in other segments today, I've got to ask Joey about some of the movies he watched over his big, long day off where he kicked his feet up and probably wore his Adidas tracksuit all day on Friday afternoon.
And I can talk to you about Nosferatu if you're interested
Yes.
in some Dracula talk.
Nice Christmas movie that's coming out on Christmas Day.
Mm-hmm. Very spooky, lots of haze,
Mhm.
castles. Oh,
Mhm.
it's what I picture when I picture Christmas.
I'm looking forward to that. And aren't there some other big releases, Joey, coming out the week of Christmas? Aren't there some other?
You know, I'm eyeing you up, and you look like a big Sonic the Hedgehog fan. So yeah, Sonic 3, that's a big one. Mufasa.
I know who Sonic is.
Mhm.
I do. It was that was a video game, wasn't it?
Yeah, it
Sonic
still
the
is,
Hedgehog.
yeah.
I think I played that. When did that come out? That come out in the 80s or the 90s?
Oh, probably like 1990. I played it a lot, and my little nephew had his 5-year birthday party. Is that how you say that? He had his 5th birthday party,
Mhm.
and it was Sonic everywhere. The cake, the balloons, and he's excited for Sonic.
What was the other one you mentioned?
The other one? Well, we got Baby Girl coming out as well, and then Mufasa. Yeah.
A big hit in the Jones home.
Mhm.
My daughters grew up watching, living, loving The Lion King, and they are fascinated about this. It's a live action CGI version, right?
Whatever you want to say. Yeah.
Whatever it is.
It's live action computers.
What do we call this?
It's like
CGI total
more,
from beginning
more
to end?
realistic looking animals. And it's creepy is what it is. Just stick to the perfect movie and quit making these other ones to bankroll your back end of your stockholders of Disney.
You know what my wife cannot stand? And I don't know. I'm a big fan of it, but she says it kind of freaks her out a little bit. She doesn't like the old claymation series, like the famous Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, the original. She doesn't like the claymation. She doesn't, for some reason that like weirds her out. I don't know what it is. I think it's great.
Yeah, I loved all that stuff, and
Yeah.
I don't know why she'd be against it. I know the frame rate can be a little different. They're kind of jumping and they're
Yeah,
glitchy.
maybe that bothers
It's
you.
like it's sneaking up on you from behind.
I think that's
The
it.
Babadook. Yeah.
Maybe it's the island of misfit toys. Maybe it reminds her too much of me. I don't know.
The Rankin and Bass. That's what we called them. Those were the studio that put those out. The Rankin
Really?
and Bass cartoons.
Really?
Mhm.
Are they still around, or did they close up shop
You know
and move
what? I'd
on?
have to look up. None of them have really become classics like those originals. They'll put out a collector set of DVD stuff, and you're like, Rudolph and Frosty go to the Misfit Toys Island. You're
Right.
like, oh, there was movies they kept making that
They
just
all
never
got
made it
together.
to the rotation.
They had like an all-star game. Yeah, there was because there was the original Rudolph, and then there was Rudolph's New Year. That was the one where he had to rescue baby New Year. I remember that. He had the big ears, right? Baby New Year had the big ears. So and then there was a bunch of other ones too. There was a bunch of knockoffs and spinoffs.
Yeah, I'm thinking Wikipedia is saying they may have gone out of business in 1983, but they're still bona fide classics to this day that
Okay.
I'll stop and watch.
I've got some classics for all you all that I'm going to hopefully honor you all with later in the week for my speaker stump speeches. I have 3 of them this year, Joey. I haven't figured out which days I'm going to do them on yet, but it'll be in the last 3 days before we head out for the Christmas holiday. So that would be Thursday, Friday, Monday, because then we're off Christmas Eve because we have a special for all you all. We have very special programming for all you all beginning at 4 p.m. on Christmas Eve, which is next Tuesday. I cannot believe it. So Thursday, Friday, Monday, I'm going to do some order version of the recitation of the reason for the season by the fella I call the modern day prophet, Linus from Peanuts fame. So that'll be the famous speech that he gave as to the real meaning for Christmas when he was trying to cheer up his good old friend Charlie Brown. And then I will recite 2 items. Yes, Virginia, there is a Santa Claus. One of my favorite accounts of the actual 1,000% certainty that the big red man, not really. The guy who wears red lives at the North Pole. And the third thing is a editorial published by the Wall Street Journal every year around this time called In Hoc Anno Domini. In Hoc Anno Domini. Not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. My brother actually took Latin in high school. He'd probably correct me right now, but that's the title of that piece. All right, we got to get to a break. It's 4:24 in the PM. When we come back, yes, Senator Jim Talent of the Reagan Institute. We're going to ask him about drones, Ukraine, the Middle East, and more. Stay right here. Back with lots more of the Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show, 1019 94.1 News Talk STL.
You're listening to Tim Jones and Chris Arps.
I have only 5 words for you. From my cold, dead hand.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm First Alert 4 Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton. Colder tonight, but we are staying dry. Waking up temperatures in the mid-30s. Normal low is 28. That's actually still above normal, but it's just not going to be as mild in the morning. However, the afternoon's not bad. Mostly sunny and a high of 54 degrees. It's going to cloud up pretty quickly around the evening drive, and there is a chance for a few scattered showers, rain showers, in the evening Tuesday and Tuesday night. Those look to be gone by Wednesday, which will be partly to mostly sunny, breezy, and a high of 45 as it cools down a little bit more by the middle of the week. That's the latest from the First Alert 4 Weather Center. I'm Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton.
St. Louis's new choice for conservative talk.
Hey, good morning, everybody.
Live and local.
Welcome home. And whoosh, sitting in traffic, stuck in a jam, and being entertained by Vic and Thunder Stealing Ken.
This is News Talk STL.
Well, folks, you got about 8 shopping days left until the reason for the season. And yes, we want to make sure that we properly respect the reason for the season, but also we should remember the loved ones in our lives as well. That's part of the season, right? Giving thanks to the good Lord above for sending his one and only son to save us from our sins and give us salvation. And also to express our love for those people who are most important in our life. You know, one place you can go where I'm going to be going this coming Saturday, Newsteaders Fine Jewelers can be found 24/7, wowdiamonds.com. Want to thank Newsteaders for making one of our listeners extremely happy heading into the holiday season. We gave away a $500 gift certificate to Brian a week or so ago. You can get great deals at Newsteaders. I just got their, because I'm on their mailing list, and you can be too. I got their little flyer in the mail. The deals in this flyer were unbelievable. If you don't get their flyer, I'll bet you could go into Newsteaders today and you could ask Richard or Eric or Diana or any of them, hey, Tim mentioned that flower. Can I get that too? There's some great coupons in there. If you tell them News Talk STL sent you, I'm sure they'll hook you up. They've got everything at Newsteaders for this holiday season and for every holiday season and every special occasion in your life. Diamonds, wedding engagement rings, hand-engraved items, really unique. I've seen Richard sketch these things out and then show me the finished product in gold, silver, platinum, whatever you want to put it on. They're really amazing. You can create lasting legacies and family heirlooms. They also offer services, jewelry repair of every shape, size, and source, jewelry appraisals. They have fine watches. I got my eye on one of those Belova watches, one of those Frank Sinatra watches that Eric had on the other day. They do repairs of watches. They do pearl and bead restringing, quality ring size. They can take your old jewelry and freshen up, make it new. They do everything at Newsteaders. You better get in there. You got about 8 shopping days left to get something nice for the loved ones in your life. They got everything for every budget, and they are merely 2 miles west of 270, right in the middle of the county of St. Louis. 24/7, look up everything they've got online. Newsteaders Fine Jewelers at wowdiamonds.com. Newsteaders Fine Jewelers, wowdiamonds.com.
Getting new flooring can be exciting, or it can be a hassle. To make sure you have a great experience, use Michael's Flooring, like I did. Hi, it's Susie Moore, and Michael's Flooring has become my go-to for quality, variety, and an all-around great experience. They've been locally owned and operated for more than 30 years. Carpet, hardwood, laminate, ceramic tile, natural stone, luxury vinyl, it doesn't matter. Michael's Flooring is ready to help. 3 locations to pick from: St. Peter's, Darting Prairie, and Creve Coeur, or online at igotfloor.com. That's igotfloor.com.
Tony Colombo here for Gutter Pros, your all-in-one gutter service team that brings years of experience and quality that's affordable right to your doorstep. We discovered Gutter Pros a few years ago when we bought our home and inherited a gutter issue that was on the road to becoming a potentially big problem, but thanks to Gutter Pros was stopped before causing any major damage. They've also repaired the siding on our home because along with gutter repair, gutter installation, and leaf protection, the Gutter Pros are also the best for siding repair and installation. Learn about all the ways Gutter Pros can help your home at gutterpros.com.
This hour of Jones and Arps is brought to you by Stifel. Contact your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com. You're listening to Tim Jones and Chris Arps.
It was a beautiful day, sun beat down, I had the radio on, I was driving.
Yeah, the country of the United States has moved on, the world has moved on. Donald Trump doesn't take office until January, but you can see the rest of the world is already treating him like he is the power center of the United States. And so I'm glad he went. This cathedral reopening is a huge deal to so many people around the world, Catholics, Christians. It's a historical moment. It was also a chance for him to talk to some of our biggest allies, people he's going to have to be coordinating with on some of these problems that Joe Biden is leaving behind. Donald Trump is hitting the ground running.
And he surely is indeed. Is there a Trump effect that we're experiencing even before Donald Trump becomes president, not only in this country, but around the world? We've got the perfect fella to speak with about that and so much more.
Former U.S. Senator Jim Talent and chairman of the Reagan Institute.
I'm watching this and just wondering, who's running the show.
This Jim Talent segment is brought to you by Royal Banks of Missouri.
He is former U.S. Senator from the great state of Missouri, chairman of the Reagan Institute's National Leadership Council, and so much more. He's at Jim Talent on Twitter X, and he joins us now. Senator, good afternoon to you. And I wanted to first ask you about whether this Trump effect is real. Scott Jennings there on CNN kind of blowing their minds as he's wont to do every single day, challenging the left-wing narrative. And I don't know. It seems like it's real, Senator, but you tell me.
Yeah, Jennings mugs for the cameras about as well as anybody I've ever seen, when he looks and rolls his eyes. Oh, yeah, there's no question. I think like the day after the election, or within a couple of days after the election, President Trump had talked to Bibi Netanyahu, I think 3 times. So, of course, they're all now calculating because he's been president before. They know what his policies were. They know what he's talking about. And they know he was effective and purposeful. And so, yes, it's affecting calculations in the Middle East, calculations in Eastern Europe. And I'm sure the Chinese they're going to be ready this time. I think the last time they were taken aback by some of the president's trade actions. So I hope he and his people understand they're going to be ready this time, and going to respond probably more quickly than they did before.
And Senator, the thing I love about Donald Trump's attitude towards foreign policy is it's a real mixture of sugar and spice, isn't it? Like, I thought, as the kids might say, Senator, it was a real boss move for Donald Trump to dare to invite Xi Jinping of China to the inauguration, right? I mean, world leaders don't come to our inaugurations, but it's almost like Trump was daring him to and kind of saying, I know you're going to say no, but I'm going to make a big deal out of this anyway, because come January 20th, there's a new sheriff back in town. You better be watching. What do you think about that?
He's positioning. Look, Trump, if you just look at what he did and what he said, he's not an isolationist. He enjoys engaging with the world, and he understands America's interests require that. He's not a Wilsonian. You know, he's not about building democracies around the world. He's certainly not a neocon. He's what in the what in the foreign policy community you call a realist, a very hard-headed person who is always acting relentlessly to advance American security and American national interest. And that's basically, by the way, what I think all the good presidents have been. And so, yeah, and he uses tactics. He'll use the carrots and the stick, the art of the deal, and those techniques that are effective in business are basically effective in foreign policy as well. I mean, I wrote like 2 weeks before the election, 2020. I wrote a long column about how effective Trump had been in foreign policy, and I'm expecting to see this again in the second term.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Engagement is so very important. And the media, I think, misreads Trump's engagement. Totally. Right.
Tim, they don't understand. That's part of the
they
problem.
don't.
And we're really seeing this. They're so shallow. They don't understand the issues that they're talking about. And I don't think they prepare very well either. So their criticisms are they're so shallow and often kind of childish,
Yeah. Yeah. They just rather throw the rattles around. That's pretty much it. Speaking to U.S. Senator Jim Talent, chairman of the Reagan Institute's National Leadership Council. Senator, what do you talking about national security here on the homeland shores, what do you make of all this drone business? I mean, we've had drones flying around this country now, for about, 15 years probably. It was started off as a hobbyist kind of thing. Now you can you can jump on your favorite shopping site online and have one delivered to your house in about 2 days. There's always stuff flying around in the sky. And we were reminded around September 11th, 2001, about that, because all of a sudden it got really eerily silent. But are people just now, what do you think's going on? Are people noticing things finally, maybe, that they haven't before? Is this an uptick in traffic? And most importantly, what do you make of the Biden-Harris administration's reaction to a lot of this?
Yeah, saying that, well, first of all, I find it pretty implausible that the government has no idea what these drones are. Now, I think they have to have some idea. There could be a legitimate reason for them not being more transparent. I want to be fair. It is a weird situation. They have the capacity to track these things. I mean, we're talking about, drones, and we're talking about the National Security Agency with all its intelligence. They should be able to have some idea of what's happening. I don't know. Somebody suggested it was Iranian in nature and from an Iranian ship. I don't believe that. The Iranian Navy is not expeditionary. I don't think the Chinese would be doing something so obvious. I mean, they're constantly monitoring us, but this is pretty obvious. So I don't know. And of course, one issue that is going to be raised here is what is the system of the legal framework for operation of drones? Do we need to have people file like flight plans or something? Do they have to do that now? I don't know. But I don't believe the government is as ignorant about this as they're saying.
Mm-hmm. And Senator, I saw there was a lengthy piece in publication that you're very familiar with and have done some work for, National Review, over the weekend, and it was about, the subject of the piece was basically the world's largest state sponsor of terror. I'm talking of Iran, of course, has had a really bad, horrible, terrible year. Not because of anything the Biden-Harris administration has done. It's almost been in spite of that, but
Yes.
but because the Iranians overstepped when it came to Israel, and Netanyahu finally said, "That's it. I've had it. I'm taking the gloves off." You couple that with an incoming Trump administration, and we have the opportunity to really cripple Iran over the next decade, don't we?
Yes, we do. And the Iranians got to decide now what they're going to do. I mean, I would put the possibilities in three different buckets. One of them, and I don't think they're going to do this, but one of them would be to actually focus on, as a regime, on trying to improve the economy and the life of the Iranian people. In other words, try and enhance their legitimacy among the people by doing something for them rather than looting the people and financing all this foreign aggression. The other possibility, the second, is to go back to what they have been doing, try and rebuild their proxies, maybe work through proxies that have not been decimated so much, like the Houthis or some of the terrorist groups on the West Bank. The third would be to race to a nuclear weapon. Now, they can get to the amount of fissionable material they need pretty quickly, but turning that, weaponizing it, and then getting a missile that they can deliver it on is going to take a little bit longer. And they're discussing that right now. That's the extreme risk. I'm sure that Netanyahu and Trump have discussed it and are talking about what they might do to prevent it. But if they try that, the Israelis are going to attack. And if they try it after January 20th, the Israelis are going to attack with our support. So we'll see what they do.
And Senator, it's so key, isn't it, that the missing component we hear was assistance from the U.S. government, right? Because as Netanyahu fought back in a bigger fashion than they have in recent memory, the one component that was missing was the funding source, right? And so Donald Trump can turn the screws on that and end it, whereas the Obama, Biden, and then the Biden-Harris administration, they couldn't give Iran enough pallets of cash. But what Donald Trump can do is, it's so bizarre that they did that, but what Trump can do is turn off that spigot, right?
Yeah, he's going to treat Iran like an adversary. Makes sense, doesn't it? So we're going to see the sanctions strongly enforced. And we're going to see, I think, very consistent support for Israel. And, Trump has a lot of sympathy for the position that the Israelis are in, I'm sure. But he's done all this because it advances American national interests. Our interests are in a stable Middle East that is dominated by people with whom we have good relationships. So it's not just the Israelis, but it's also Jordan, Egypt, the Gulf states. And that's what Trump put together in his first term. That's in our interest, peace. And a region where the security construct or arrangement consists of our partners, our allies, and our friends, and that's what he's going to work for. And he's going to constrain Iran as part of that. And I think you're right. We have an enormous opportunity because Israel's become the hegemon of the Middle East, really, and backed up with American purpose and American power, a good personal relationship between President Trump and Netanyahu. Yeah. I think there's a real potential for a broad Middle Eastern peace, maybe for the first time, in the 40 years I've been involved in all this.
Speaking to former U.S. Senator Jim Talent, he's now chairman of the Reagan Institute's National Leadership Council. You can follow him at Jim Talent on Twitter X. Senator, I think, I got time for one more topic for you. There was a headline today, caught my attention on the Associated Press, and it was 1 week into a new Syria, rebels aim for normalcy and Syrians vow not to be silent again. Senator, I read that. I read some of the story, and I'm immediately skeptical because I don't want to be prematurely declaring it's Arab springtime again, like Barack Obama did, and then the opposite happened. What do you think is possible in a rebuilt new Syria, and what's not?
Yeah, good question. Well, there's one immediately good consequence, is that this new regime is not going to permit, or it's highly unlikely that they're going to permit Iran to resupply Hezbollah. And this is a real blow to Iran. Now, the danger is that you're going to see, and I think this is likely, you're going to see a Sharia supremacist, a sort of Sharia law imposed very strictly by this regime. However, again, with the United States working with Israel, it is quite possible that this regime, whatever it does internally, will decide that it's not in their interests to aggress against American interests, American security, or again, this arrangement that this security arrangement, this group of nations that I feel certain Trump will be trying to resurrect with the Abraham Accords. In other words, they're not going to. This is not going to become a democracy. I think the treatment of women is going to be bad. Maybe not as bad as in Iran. There are going to be some bad things about it, but I do think, and I'm sure this is what President Trump's going to try and do, is to say, look, don't export any of this, okay? And, we can work out an arrangement with you. We don't like it, but don't export it. And I imagine that's what he'll do. And that's certainly what the Israelis, I think, are already planning.
And Jim, you know what? I do have time for one quick question, one more, because I'm very curious to know what your opinion is on what do you think, what would you suggest the Trump administration focus on in their first 100 days from a national security and international foreign relations standpoint? These are things he might do by contacting different leaders. Maybe there's some executive orders, things of that sort.
Yeah.
What steps would you like him to do to kind of repair the damage of the last 4 years? What's possible, do you think, in the first
Well,
100
what they are going to do, and some of this isn't directly national security, they're going to get the economy moving by arranging to extend the Trump tax cuts, and there'll be some tweaks in that. Energy production is huge.
Yes.
And as you know, Trump and the Republicans of the Congress are completely on the same page as far as that's concerned, getting the border closed and beginning deporting, well, according to their priority schedule. I mean, you've heard them talk about it, and I think it makes perfect sense. And then from a defense standpoint, really make it a priority to begin to rebuild the defense industrial base, and especially the shipbuilding industrial base. The new Secretary of the Navy, they need a good undersecretary for shipbuilding. Got to get Hegseth confirmed. Got to get all these people confirmed. So, Indo-PACOM, Tim, is a naval and air, or it's a maritime domain. So the Navy is going to be very, very important. The president identified that in his first term. Remember, he said we need a 355 ship Navy. But they didn't make as much progress as they need to, and they can't let that happen in the second term.
Amen to all of that. Former U.S. Senator, current chairman of the Reagan Institute's National Leadership Council, that's Jim Talent. Senator, thanks so much for all the time, and Chris and I will look forward to speaking with you next Monday, right before the Christmas holiday, as long as you're available.
Sounds good, Tim. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Well, that was a jam-packed segment. If you missed any of that, you can go back and listen to the podcast that Joey will have up right after the show is concluded. In our next segment, what has happened to MSNBC and CNN's ratings since the November election, and what do Americans think about the return of Donald Trump? You may be surprised about the answers to both of these. All of that and more straight ahead on the Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show, 1019-94. And thanks for listening to us. This is News Talk STL.
It's the Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show.
Everything woke turns to okay?
I felt so good, like anything was possible. Hit cruise control and rub my eyes.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm First Alert 4 Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton. Colder tonight, but we are staying dry. Waking up temperatures in the mid-30s. Normal low is 28. That's actually still above normal, but it's just not going to be as mild in the morning. However, the afternoon's not bad. Mostly sunny and a high of 54 degrees. It's going to cloud up pretty quickly around the evening drive, and there is a chance for a few scattered showers, rain showers, in the evening Tuesday and Tuesday night. Those look to be gone by Wednesday, which will be partly to mostly sunny, breezy, and a high of 45 as it cools down a little bit more by the middle of the week. That's the latest from the First Alert 4 Weather Center. I'm Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton.
On the next, Larry Connors, USA.
Look, a drone here, a drone there, a drone over there, a drone everywhere. And no one can give us a clear answer.
Larry Connors, USA. Now, weeknights 6 until 8 on News Talk STL.
Nobody wants to think about needing a lawyer until you need one. I've got the one-stop shop for you. I'm a recovering lawyer, so if you call me, I may give you my 2 cents worth, but no free legal advice. And then I'm going to refer you to Todd Sivia and the gang at Sivia Law. That's SIVIA. Easy to remember. SIVIA. CiviaLaw.com. They can help you with all of life's major challenges and those transitory periods that we all have to deal with, right? Getting older, planning for the care of older loved ones, planning for our legacy, our children, yourself, and more. Maybe you're starting a new business venture. Civia Law can help you with all of those things and more. What areas specifically? Estate planning. You all should have an estate plan. Elder law, we have parents getting older. We're getting older. We got to take care of that. There's special things there. If you have special needs loved ones in your lives, they specialize in that. That's a niche, man. That's a boutique thing. You don't just go to any traffic lawyer for that. Call Civia Law, CiviaLaw.com. Real estate matters, business setups, startups, transactional matters, personal injury, and more. Veterans benefits. This is something I think that people don't talk about enough. We have, millions of veterans in our country. We have many of them here. We have a lot of Air Force bases and Army bases in and around Missouri, Illinois. A lot of veterans live in the heartland. And did you know, veterans, that there's many things that you actually qualify for that you may not even realize? Call Civia Law and you'll find out everything you need to know about that. 833-995-WILL. 833-995-WILL, CiviaLaw.com. They have multiple locations all up and down the Interstate 70 corridor, all the way from central Illinois, all the way almost to central Missouri. There's a Civia Law office near you. They specialize in all of those things. They specialize in helping people through life's challenges and transitory periods and so much more. Call them today, 833-995-WILL. Tell them recovering attorney Tim Jones sent you. CiviaLaw.com. That's CiviaLaw.com.
Connor Roofing. You can count on Connor. Congratulations to the awesome team at Connor Roofing for earning the 2024 National Best of the Best Award for customer satisfaction. Connor Roofing has now won back-to-back honors because they do outstanding work in all types of roofing, storm damage restoration, siding, gutters, both residential and commercial. We chose Connor Roofing without telling the owners, Rob and Kathy Connor. Their customer reviews are some of the best in the country. Please read them. Visit ConnorRoofing.com and request an estimate. Connor Roofing. You can count on Connor.
Epic STL is always on the lookout for highly motivated, goal-oriented, results-driven people to add to our growing, winning team of sales and content professionals. 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL is a locally owned and operated venture of Epic STL. Apply to be a part of our creative, fun, and rewarding work environment by simply going to the Connect tab on newstalkstl.com and click on Application. Epic STL and News Talk STL are equal opportunity employers.
This hour of Jones and Arps is brought to you by Stifel. Contact your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com. It's the Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show.
Not a single Republican senator has raised any significant public concern about Patel's nomination. Now, my last guest under White House said maybe that will come in the hearings, maybe it'll be quiet, but it still is kind of an eye-opener worth discussing. As the New York Times put it this week, Patel appears, at least for now, to be on a glide path for confirmation.
Well, Jen Psaki, big mad there at the fact that people aren't yelling and screaming at the sky enough wearing their pink hats and belly aching about Kash Patel. Doesn't that tell you, though? No one cares what you think, Jen Psaki. No one gives a rip. And I think it's absolutely wonderful. And you know what? That's not just me. That's not just me and right-wing media saying that. That's all Americans. I don't know, Joey, back in the day, we used to say that giant clicking sound because we actually used to have to go change the channel on the TV, or we actually had to use remotes. You remember those days? You remember those days when you had to change the channel by hand?
Of course.
Yeah.
I grew up actually with a black and white TV. This is way beyond, us having color, but just my family was so cheap, I guess. I was given I had a 9-inch black and white TV to watch cartoons in my room.
Mm-hmm. And you used to have to change the channel. That's where that comes from. We had to change the channel. Or Joey, remember then they had those big clunky remotes. And back in the beginning, the remotes were on this big cord attached to the television, and they had these big buttons on them, and you go click, 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 like that. It looked like a Mattel toy.
And we had cable at the same time, and I remember going behind the TV to switch between the A channels and the B channels. There was this little switch behind the
Oh,
TV. I had to
yeah.
click between them.
Wasn't that weird?
That was weird that we even had to do that. And you had to be on channel 3 to play your Nintendo. I don't know what that was about either. It was
Strange technology we used to have.
Mhm.
It all, in retrospect, it looks very like they all look like Mattel toys, like they should all be in a museum. So, yeah. So, again, that's not just me saying MSNBC and CNN suck. I mean, you all kind of know that. Automatically by intuition. But the proof is in the pudding here as far as what the whole country thinks about CNN and MSNBC. Hat tip to my good friends at the Committee to Unleash Prosperity. They send out this awesome email every day. You can subscribe to it. This is not just for special radio people. All you got to do is go to committeetounleashprosperity.com. Committeetounleashprosperity.com. They'll send you the hotline email every day. I get a lot of great information for this. One of their topics today was, does anyone still watch CNN or MSNBC? What are they talking about? Well, here we go. For months, these hate Trump propaganda channels assured their viewers Trump was a loser. Well, they said more than that, didn't they? This is me speaking now. They said he was Hitler, said he was a fascist, a threat to democracy. The planet would come to a screeching halt and implode if he won. None of that's happened. The opposite has. After he won, back to the article here, their ratings crashed because people realized they were lying to them. Fox, get this. And Newsmax, I think, has even leapfrogged CNN in some demographics and on some shows, which is awesome for Newsmax. I cheer on Newsmax just as much as anything else. But this is a Fox stat here. Listen to this. Fox News currently has more than double the audience of CNN and MSNBC combined. What do you think that means? Well, the Wall Street Journal reporting on this as well. While viewers are flocking to Fox News in the wake of Donald Trump's election win last month, ratings for MSNBC and CNN have tumbled. The declines are far worse than what happened the last time Trump won in 2016, and they were pretty bad back then. How do these networks stay on air with? There may be points in the day where this little radio station media company that could here in St. Louis, we may have more listeners than MSNBC has viewers. I bet you that's possible. MSNBC averaged 603,000 primetime viewers from the day after the election through December 8th, down by more than half from the network's year-to-date average through the election, according to Nielsen data. CNN was down 46% to only 400,000 viewers. Folks, there are nearly 1 million people in the county of St. Louis, in the middle of the country here in flyover country, right? Just in the county of St. Louis, there's around 900,000-ish people, 900,000, 950,000, bordering on 1 million people. Less than that. That means that in the entire country, you could take all of CNN's viewers in the entire country, and they would occupy less than half of St. Louis County. Does that put that into perspective to you? You stretch CNN out over the entire country, and I can say that statistically, literally no one is watching them. Like, how much of the population is that? Population is what? 350, 375 million people? We're somewhere in there now. Divide 400,000 into that, and you've got an infinitesimal amount of total viewers in the U.S. watching this dinosaur defunct, just destroyed network. Meanwhile, so maybe you're thinking, well, the liberals, I can hear the liberals screaming at the radio now. Well, I bet Fox is down too, because there's always a post-election letdown, hangover. Au contraire, mon frère, as the French might say. Fox News was up 12% over the same time period. So MSNBC down, CNN down more, Fox News up, averaging 2.7 million viewers. That's like, okay, I'm not a math major. Seven. That's nearly seven times as many Americans are watching Fox than CNN. Combine Fox with Newsmax and OAN, and it's probably like 30-1 as opposed to CNN, MSNBC, and whatever else lefties watch. That's really incredible. And when you look at this on a graph, I'm looking at a bar graph right now. not the best thing to show you on radio. I guess I could hold it up to the screens if you're watching on any of our streaming platforms, Rumble, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. But the bar graph here, the picture says 1,000 words. So CNN is down, MSNBC's down, and Fox News looks like the Twin Towers. It's just dynamite, just absolutely fantastic. And Americans, so they're responding to media and choosing their media sources much more wisely now. They're also giving big thumbs up to Donald Trump. CNBC, speaking of left-leaning networks, although they're not as bad as their parent company, Americans say they're ready to support President-elect Trump in his second term. Majorities give a green light to some of even his, quote, controversial promises on the campaign trail. So even after the election, Donald Trump looking so much better as he heads into Trump 2.0. People are ready for a return to normalcy. They're sick and tired of inflation. They're tired of the wokeatocracy. They're tired of endless foreign wars. I could go on and on, but I'm about to run out of time. 4:57 in the PM. Joey and I will be back right after this. Lickety split. We got a jam-packed second hour. Speaker's stump speech. The otherwise minded. What's that all about? I'll tell you. Susie Moore with Red State, redstate.com headlines, and so much more. As the Tim Jones and Chris Arps show rolls on a very manic Monday here at 101.9 94.1. This is News Talk STL.
It's the Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show.
Metro Shooting Supplies is a gun enthusiast ultimate destination. With over 400 rental guns, you can try before you buy. Serving Metro St. Louis for over 20 years, we offer the largest selection of new, used, and consignment firearms. Buy a new gun and get a free $200 range membership located at Fifi and St. Charles Rock Road. Metro Shooting Supplies, where shooting meets expertise. Visit buylearnshoot.com.
This holiday, shine bright with Randy's Jewelry. For over 35 years, we've been making quality affordable. Custom jewelry, engagement rings, Randy's is your full-service jeweler. Stunning diamond studs and pendants, and here's the best part, 100% trade-up guarantee. New pieces added weekly, and we're open Christmas Eve from 10 till 2. Hurry to Main Street in Troy and O'Fallon, Missouri, or online at randys-jewelry.com. Randy's Jewelry, making quality affordable.
Tony Colombo here for the Farmers Co-op Old Town Country Store in Old Town St. Peters, where they have a huge selection of products and services for your yard and home, including a full line of lawn and garden products, a full line of products for animal care, and that includes anything from livestock to the family dog or cat. They'll fill any size propane tank for about half the price of a new one, and so much more. Visit them in St. Peters on 2nd Street, right behind the QT at 70 and Mid-Rivers Mall Drive, and check out all their products and services at oldtowncountrystore.com.
I can tell you how to get a free quick quiz to see how artificial intelligence can boost your company's potential. You go to priglobal.ai, priglobal.ai. St. Louis Business Magazine listing PRI as one of the leading IT companies, and PRI has its own AI lab to develop what your business needs. priglobal.ai, priglobal.ai.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefontaine, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 101.9, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters reporting. Police say a teenage student opened fire with a handgun at a private Christian school in Wisconsin, killing a teacher and another teenager. Authorities say the shooter also died and wounded 6 others at Abundant Life Christian School. Someone from the K-12 school of about 400 students called 911 to report an active shooter shortly before 11 a.m. Monday. A law enforcement official told the Associated Press that the shooter was a 17-year-old female student. The Supreme Court has turned back an appeal from Peter Navarro, the former Trump White House official who's set to return in his second term after serving prison time on contempt of Congress charges.
The appeal comes after the Justice Department sued Navarro, saying he had presidential records on an unofficial email account he used during his previous White House tenure. Navarro served as a trade advisor during Donald Trump's first term and is set to return as senior counselor for trade and manufacturing after serving a 4-month prison term for refusing to cooperate with the congressional investigation into the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol. Haya Panchwani, Washington.
President Biden established a national monument honoring the late FDR-era Labor Secretary Frances Perkins. President Biden says Perkins was the first woman to serve in a presidential cabinet and helped American workers as FDR's labor secretary.
Through the Fair Labor Standards Act, she cemented the idea that if you're working a full-time job, you shouldn't have to live in poverty. A simple proposition. If you work a little extra, you should have extra money for overtime. Not a crazy idea. Some even argue about it now.
On Wall Street, the Dow down by 110 points, but the Nasdaq rose 247. The S&P 500 advanced 23. More at townhall.com.
You know, as they say, one person's personal information is another person's treasure.
Exactly. That's why I use NordVPN every time I surf the web. Features like Threat Protection Pro's safeguard devices from phishing websites and disable intrusive ads and trackers. Just check NordVPN.com, grab the deal, and see for yourself. NordVPN. Cybersecurity built for every day.
Attention American homeowners, you're under attack. Your home and equity could be vulnerable to cyber thieves. There's only one company that completely stops them, and that company is Equity Protect. Equity Protect prevents any attempts to steal your home, equity, and ownership 24/7. Get your free risk report today by texting the word HOME to 94878. That's right, text the word HOME to 94878 to get your free risk report. Keep your equity and legacy safe with
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm First Alert 4 Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton. Colder tonight, but we are staying dry. Waking up temperatures in the mid-30s. Normal low is 28. That's actually still above normal, but it's just not going to be as mild in the morning. However, the afternoon's not bad. Mostly sunny and a high of 54 degrees. It's going to cloud up pretty quickly around the evening drive, and there is a chance for a few scattered showers, rain showers, in the evening Tuesday and Tuesday night. Those look to be gone by Wednesday, which will be partly to mostly sunny, breezy, and a high of 45 as it cools down a little bit more by the middle of the week. That's the latest from the First Alert 4 Weather Center. I'm Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Rodney and Jen Wallner and the entire Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway. Call them today at 314-810-SOLD. 314-810-SOLD.
I'm so tired of my water smelling like rotten eggs. Iron foul. It makes my clothes and home smell, and my sink and faucet look dirty. I'm calling Jones Air and Water Treatment for their solution to this pollution.
Jones Air and Water Treatment has a solution to your pollution. Call now for your free water analysis at 636-899-1040 and live with clean, great-tasting water. That's 636-899-1040 or joneswater.com on the web. Call us now.
Hey, how you doing? Santa Vic here.
And Santa's head, Vic head. Here.
And you can win some great prizes with News Talk STL's St. Louis Conservative Christmas.
You forgot the ho-ho-ho. You forgot the ho-ho-ho.
Oh!
No, ho-ho.
Oh!
A St. Louis Conservative Christmas. Log on to newstalkstl.com for your chance to win. Brought to you by Woods and Stonefire, Tropical World Pets, El Morelia Supermercado, and Metro Shooting Supplies.
Oh!
Hey, it's Vic. Are you worried about rising taxes? Well, you're not alone. With government spending outpacing revenue, many Americans fear a tax hike is on the horizon. But here's the good news. You have options. Chris Cooper of Serenity Wealth Management specializes in tax-efficient strategies for income planning, legacy, and growth. Chris knows your money will go to one of three places: the government, healthcare, or your family and charities. Shouldn't your loved ones come first? Don't let Uncle Sam be your biggest beneficiary. Take control of your financial future today. Visit SerenityNowTax.com for your free copy of Chris's book, The New Holistic Retirement. Serenity Wealth Management, because you deserve peace of mind in retirement. Request your free book today at SerenityNowTax.com. That's SerenityNowTax.com to get your free copy of The New Holistic Retirement. That's SerenityNowTax.com. Serenity Now! With Chris Cooper.
Investment advice offered through Fortis Capital Advisors.
News analysis and opinion.
Let the American people see what's going on here.
News Talk STL.
Pay close attention.
St. Louis is number one.
Bottom line is this: St. Louis is number one
for conservative talk.
News Talk STL.
A lot of important family discussions occur this time of year because, you're finally together with all your family after all the craziness of 2024. If the subject matter of selling your home comes up, I want you to pay very close attention. the Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway, Rodney and Jen Wallner, who have been with us at our little mighty radio station that could and gets bigger and bigger every day. Been with us from the very beginning. They're standing by to help you right now. Rodney and Jen Wallner, the Wallner home selling team, 314-810-SOLD, 314-810-SOLD. They are going to offer you a commission plan that's going to be tailored to your specific needs. It's not going to tie you down. It's not going to entrap you. It's not going to ensnare you. It's not going to be like, oh, why did we ever sign this thing? It's going to have a no obligation, no long-term commitment clause in it. Anytime you need to change your mind, move on, do other things, you may. They welcome you to. They want you to be the perfect happy camper. It's why the Wallners have done so well in this region for decades. Number one, they're fully committed to the real estate industry, real estate world. This is not like their side gig or their fifth side gig, their fifth side hustle they do on the weekends. They're not weekend warriors. They do it all week, all month, all year, all decade long. They have so many approved home buyers ready to rock and roll in their arsenal. They guarantee to obtain you an offer. They're licensed in both Missouri and Illinois. You need them on either side of the river. They're there for you. And they're a husband and wife team. Unique family perspective. 2 agents for the price of 1 with unique perspectives themselves. And 2 people that are heavily invested in the community. When you work with the Wallners, you can feel good about it. It's not just a real estate transaction. I mean, that's what you're trying to accomplish. But you're working with people who are heavily invested in this community. And they put their money where their mouth is and all the things that they support, like Backstoppers and Angels Arms and so many others. Call the Wallner Home Selling Team today for a free listing consultation. You will sell your home with this top producing real estate team of Rodney and Jen Wallner. 314-810-SOLD. That's 314-810-SOLD.
This hour of Jones and Arps brought to you by Window World. Simply the best for less. 314-993-1800 or visit windowworld.com. Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
The 9 most terrifying words in the English language are, I'm from the government and I'm here to help.
The more you remove voting from Election Day, the more opportunity you're offering for people to commit fraud.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
I think the Democrats are so short-sighted in this tactic they have now to just cheat at any cost to win elections.
You're a lying dog-faced pony soldier. You said you were, but now you got to be honest. I'm going to be honest with you.
What are we doing wrong here?
As a former leader in the House, I think you can put your finger on it. It's called leadership. We don't have it.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps.
Well, first of all, the idea that he came up with an enemies list is false. There's a footnote in his book related to corrupt actors. And I do think Kash Patel's the right man for the job. This guy served as chief of staff at the Department of Defense. He was deputy at DNI. He was a prosecutor. He was a public defender. And let's review the tape here. The FBI was involved in spying on President Trump in 2016. The FBI was involved in the Hunter Biden laptop cover-up. They pre-bunked that story with big tech. The FBI has investigated Catholics because they attend traditional Latin Mass. And the FBI has investigated parents who showed up to school board meetings because under the auspices of the Patriot Act. That agency is in desperate need of reform. Kash Patel is very qualified, and I think he's going to get the support in the Senate.
Welcome back to the Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show. Yeah, the junior senator there, Senator Eric Schmidt. Doesn't that sound familiar? Echoes of a lot of what I said last week. Senator Schmidt must listen to the show. No, us smart Republican lawyers, there's a couple of us out there. Come on, don't be nasty. I can hear you all right now making the lawyer jokes. We all think the same, and we know that Kash Patel is eminently qualified for the job. Senator Schmidt there saying a lot of things I said over the last few weeks about Kash Patel. We are simpatico. I had the honor and privilege of having dinner with the good senator a couple weeks ago when I was in Washington, D.C. He stopped by our Missouri-Illinois State Night event at the American Legislative Exchange Council's annual meeting. It was great seeing Eric, and I'm glad he was fighting the good fight on, I think he was on This Week, ABC, the network. I haven't talked about them yet. Talk about defunct, destroyed media. $15 million defamation settlement in the lawsuit that Trump filed. I mean, folks, I hope you're not tired of the winning because the winning's just getting started. I mean, I love it. And don't you love the fact that the media, ABC, George Snuffleup, I guess, and the rest of them, I mean, they're just chewing and spitting on lemons, right? Because they just can't stand this. The guy that was Hitler, the Nazi, the fascist, he now is He's a free man. The lawfare was a huge loser, and now he's winning. How about turnabout is fair play? How about turning the tables? Donald Trump is winning lawsuits against the dinosaur, leftist, destructive, destroyed media. I couldn't be happier. Welcome back to the Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show. Thanks for listening to us. 1019 94.1 News Talk STL. Chris Arps not here today. He's out in mid-Missouri land with his wonderful wife, Becky Arps. They're attending the annual Missouri Republican Party Christmas party with special VIP guest, of course, Governor-elect Mike Kehoe. And I bet you all the other statewides and a whole host of representatives and senators are likely there as well. He'll be back with us tomorrow and for the rest of the week. Joey V here as well, along with me today. Joey, we're going to talk a little, we're going to talk about a really extra special Christmas movie around 5:45. Nosferatu, the damned vampire. That's what we're going to talk about at 5:45.
And it's got the people that are the most scariest in it. We got Willem Dafoe, who even played Nosferatu back in the 90s. Remember Shadow of the Vampire? That was kind of a meta take where they were filming Nosferatu and they're like, what if there was an actual vampire on set who just got cast in this movie? And he's in this one as well. And then the guy who played Pennywise in it, he's the one who plays Nosferatu.
Oh, no way. How about that? Joey, what is it about Christmas and horror movies coming out? And there is a dark side. There's a melancholy side to there is a melancholy, darker side to Christmas, right? We see that in a lot of other things. Christmas Carol, Charles Dickens showed us that other side of Christmas with the famous Christmas Carol movie. So there is a little bit of that, right? Sometimes when you throw in opposite things, they attract.
Yeah, I think exactly right. Christmas Carol is a great comparison because it's got that feeling of maybe 1800s, London, the fog, the cobblestone streets, and it makes me think of ghosts of Christmas past, present, and future.
Did you watch the epic Christmas Carol remake, reimagining, very much a reimagining, that they released on FXM a few years ago with Guy Pearce? It was very, on one hand, I think it was critically acclaimed, and on the other hand, I think it was critically bashed. I don't know if you saw this. It's 3.5 hours long. Joey, originally it came out as kind of like a mini series. It was a one-run mini series, and then they've combined it where you can actually watch the whole movie. My wife can't stand this. She really does not like A Christmas Carol. She doesn't like that kind of darker side of Christmas. But what I like about it is it kind of reminds us that don't get so hung up on the secularization of the holiday and life here on earth. I think A Christmas Carol, especially this version, which is very, very dark. I mean, you really got to be prepared for this one. It's kind of reminding you of, life sucks. It's hard, but we all should be thinking about more than cradle to grave. There's a lot that happens in the hereafter, and that's what we should be focused on. Do you see this at all?
I did not see that. It looks like it was 2019. You could still catch it on Hulu. It is broken up into 3 episodes, but I think the darkness may come from Tom Hardy as one of the writers, guy who plays Bane in Batman, and then Ridley Scott, the Alien creator. I mean, with those two on board, how could it not be terrifying in some way?
I think you would like it. I think you would like it a lot. Maybe snuggle up with the lady friend over the holiday, and if you got 3.5 hours to spare, which hopefully you will, and you can, I think you would like this. It's very, the cinematography is, I think, really fantastic. It's very different than, I mean, it's got the same story and the same theme, but it's 3.5 hours long, so they really extrapolate out a lot more content. And they really show Ebenezer Scrooge as just a real evil son of a bitch. I mean, just a real horrible person. And if I can say that, I think I just did. But at the end, there's a redemption at the end, but you wonder if he's going to it's almost like the original Christmas Carol. It was like somebody snapped their fingers and suddenly Ebenezer Scrooge is this happy-go-lucky guy who's like the most gregarious guy on the planet. This story is more of like, it kind of leaves you with the hope that he's going to transform into a nicer, kinder person, and hopefully he's learned some lessons, but you're not exactly sure, you know? I think a more objective, believable ending.
I may give it a chance. I don't know. At 3.5 hours, it sounds like Tiny Tim will be through puberty by the end of that. be 6 feet tall, and nickname just won't work anymore.
Yep. Good point indeed. Joey, speaking of Christmas, we've got stocking stuffer giveaway we're going to tell you all about. And you know what? If you don't celebrate Christmas, if you're a Hanukkah person, or if the holidays just aren't for you, then you can just win stuff. How about that? But of course, we're doing it for Christmas, Hanukkah, the New Year's Eve holidays. We got a stocking stuffer giveaway because we do remember the reason for the season here. We want to give back to you, our listeners. In all seriousness, we would not be on this station but for you, the listener, and all of our amazing advertisers. I hope you are listening very closely during our breaks. Don't be flipping around on the dials and pressing buttons. I'm shaking my stocking stuffer copy here. There's a lot of new folks that have joined News Talk STL Nation, and we couldn't be happier. And several of them are involved in the giveaway. Let me tell you what it's all about. First of all, if you remember nothing else, because you're driving and you're running around like crazy, when you get home, go to newstalkstl.com. Go to newstalkstl.com, and you can enter to win a ton of stuff. 12 days of Christmas. We're going to cram into one day. On December the 23rd, we're going to announce all the winners of all this really cool stuff. Check this out. We got gift cards from Tropical World Pets. We have more gift cards from Woodson Stonefire Pizza. That's in St. Charles. We've got lots of News Talk STL merch. We got hats. We got shirts. We got hoodies. We got more. We have a 1-year range membership from Metro Shooting Supplies. 2 locations, Bridgeton and Belleville, the double Bs, Bridgeton and Belleville, and a gift basket, a big, as Donald Trump would say, a huge gift basket from El Morelia Supermercado in Bridgeton. So lots of great stuff. You can win. We're going to give. So we have enough of. So from all those people, all those advertisers, we have a whole boatload of stuff. So we're dividing it out, and we're going to give something. We're going to give at least something to 10 people. You're going to get a lot of somethings. You're going to get a lot of cool stuff. So go to newstalkstl.com. Don't miss your chance to win. newstalkstl.com. Your one-stop shop for everything regarding this wonderful station. Oh, talking to a couple more people over the weekend, they were like, people always ask me, what station are you on? And I tell them, because they remember in the old, I'm still running into folks. Jeff Allen said this is going to happen for the next 15, 20 years or more. People don't realize where you went and all that. And we have super fans like Scotty. Oh, Scotty, by the way, go Navy, Scotty. Yeah, Navy pulling the upset over Army over the weekend. Fantastic game. Army was the big favorite in that. And they came up short. Navy kind of gave them a pounding. So look, we love our Army. We love our Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard, Merchant Marines, the whole gang, National Guard. Thank you to anybody who served. Hope you had a lot of fun watching the game. I'm on a lot of different text strings. A bunch of my buddies, I got some older friends who were a couple were in the Marines, some were in the Army. One guy was Army and Navy. He's like, I can't lose. So congrats to our favorite chief, to Scotty, because he's, of course, a big Navy guy. What was I just saying? Joey, remember what I was just saying before I talked about the Army-Navy game?
Well, we were talking Christmas Carol, and then we went into the live read for the contest.
We got the contest, newstalkstl.com. I can't remember. I'll probably remember it in a second. We do have Susie Moore coming up at 5:25. We're going to talk to her about some big red state headlines, including the anger over the New York Times. And, I've got a speaker stump speech, and I almost completely blew past that, but I won't. I never do, because it's sponsored by Chad Hansen, the gang Hansen. Oh, I remember what I was saying. Support our advertisers. Oh, the app. Somebody over the weekend said, what station are you on? I said, News Talk STL. They always say, what frequency? I say 101.9, 94.1. And then I say, just download the app. You don't have to remember frequencies. You don't have to remember where it is on the dial. You don't have to just once you download that app, you're always going to remember where we are because it's going to be right there on your phone. You're not going to be able to miss it. News Talk STL. Go to the app, download it. That way you can listen to us in crystal clear, high def, digital quality. And the app sounds great. Sounds really fantastic. And you can listen to us anywhere you can get a cellular or a Wi-Fi signal. So basically, pretty much anywhere in the world except maybe the Arctic Circle or Antarctica itself. All right, without further ado, I've been telling you about the Otherwise Minded. What the heck's that all about? I'm going to tell you right now on the Speaker Stump Speech.
Listen to me, listen to me.
I'm very consistent. I'm a very stable genius.
It's time for the Speaker's Stump Speech, sponsored by Hanson's Tree Service at hansonstree.com.
Coming from the American Mind, Robert Alt wrote this. He penned this right before Thanksgiving. I think it's appropriate now as we are once again in the season of thanks and giving, both, right? That's what Christmas is. The Otherwise Minded. We're fortunate to live in a country where we enjoy the freedoms that many otherwise minded, remember that phrase, otherwise minded, died elsewhere to achieve. Robert says that as he counts the blessings in his life around this time of year, family, friends, faith, football, freedom, he keeps coming back to the debt owed to the otherwise minded. He says, let me explain. A few years ago, Robert Alt traveled to Lithuania to collaborate with free market leaders from across the U.S. and Europe in a mutual quest to increase liberty and prosperity in our respective countries. While there, I took time to visit the capital's Museum of Genocide Victims. Oof. Not for the faint of heart, as he says here in a moment. The museum, housed in the old KGB headquarters, vividly chronicles the violent intimidation and brutal tactics carried out against the Lithuanian people by the Soviets. Spying, arrests, deportations, torture, murder. The exhibit's not for the faint of heart. In the basement of the museum, the KGB prison ends abruptly in a small room where chunks of the brick walls remain broken off by executioner bullets. The bleakness and the missing pieces of solid bricks silently testify on behalf of the victims and their suffering in that same chamber. As you enter the museum, a plaque explains the targets of the KGB special attention were those dubbed the otherwise minded. These courageous, otherwise minded Lithuanians were the men and women who questioned government authority, resisted Soviet oppression, and stood up for the rule of law and human dignity. These otherwise minded were the 20th century's freedom fighters. They fought for freedom of speech, of association, property rights, religious rights. These brave and dignified heroes established a line across which they would not bear government intrusion. They honored that boundary with their lives. Over time, the ranks of these otherwise minded grew. On August 23rd, 1989, approximately 2 million people peacefully joined hands to create a single chain of human solidarity that stretched 419 miles from the Baltic capitals of Vilnius. Sorry, got to remember my Russian here. Vilnius, my Lithuanian, in Lithuania, Riga in Latvia, Tallinn in Estonia. Later that same year, of course, the Berlin Wall would fall, the otherwise minded having toppled the first domino. In the U.S., we're fortunate to live in a country where we enjoy the freedoms too many otherwise minded Lithuanians died to achieve, which the founders of our own country fervently sought to protect through our Constitution. As a result, we're blessed not to live under communist oppression. Nonetheless, there remains a temptation to enforce politically correct speech and use other tactics to intimidate the otherwise minded today in our country. There are those who remain threatened by the ideas of liberty, of freedom of speech and association that we will not renounce. I'm thankful for those who boldly resisted the communist political regimes of the 20th century, and to all of you who are pushing back in the 21st century against the subtle but steady erosion of our precious First Amendment rights in this great nation. May you, all of you, the otherwise minded, and your families enjoy the enduring and hard-fought blessings of peace, prosperity, and liberty this Thanksgiving, Christmas, holiday season, and always. And that's the Speaker's Stump Speech for today, December 16th, 2024. You can find that, folks. That's a very short, powerful piece that I would encourage you to review again at the American Mind. We're going to review the national headlines with the one and only Susie Moore when we come back, and then talk a little Nosferatu at 5:45 and prepare you for Larry Connors USA. He's followed by the one and only Jamie Ullman of the Ullman Report. Larry at 6, Jamie at 8. Lots of great content straight ahead on this magnificent station that you're all listening to. Thank you so much. 1019 94.1 News Talk STL.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps, driving the leftist crazy all afternoon.
I liked beer. I still like beer.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm First Alert 4 Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton. Colder tonight, but we are staying dry. Waking up temperatures in the mid-30s. Normal low is 28. That's actually still above normal, but it's just not going to be as mild in the morning. However, the afternoon's not bad. Mostly sunny and a high of 54 degrees. It's going to cloud up pretty quickly around the evening drive, and there is a chance for a few scattered showers, rain showers, in the evening Tuesday and Tuesday night. Those look to be gone by Wednesday, which will be partly to mostly sunny, breezy, and a high of 45 as it cools down a little bit more by the middle of the week. That's the latest from the First Alert 4 Weather Center. I'm Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton.
Listen anytime.
It happens
Anywhere.
anywhere.
Everywhere.
Every day continues to bring more news
with the News Talk STL app. Keep St. Louis's home for conservative talk with you wherever you go. Download the News Talk STL app in the App Store or at newstalkstl.com.
At Elite Comfort Experts, they don't offer gimmicks. They just offer guarantees. They offer upfront transparent pricing on repairs and replacements. And if you're looking for a new water heater or a new furnace with new government mandates and 2025 manufacturer price hikes, delaying a replacement means paying more. But here's some good news for you. You can now save with tax credits, utility rebates, and easy financing. As I said, no gimmicks with Elite Comfort Experts, just guarantees. They also have emergency services available 24/7 when you need it most. Most HVAC contractors, they promise a 90-day installation warranty and a 30-day repair warranty. But what do you get with Elite? A 1 year on all warranty and repairs. That is unheard of in the industry. Elite is not interested in short-term relationships. They want to have a lifetime relationship with you. You can visit them online at elitecomfortexperts.com, elitecomfortexperts.com, or give them a call at 636-887-0971, 636-887-0971. Tell them Chris Arps told you to call.
True story. I was with Jay Ackerman, and a waitress came up and began praising Ackerman Toyota. She was afraid she might need a new car, so she had gone to Ackerman and was told, you don't really need a new car, just new tires. Obviously, tremendously relieved and thanking Jay over and over. Another example where Ackerman Toyota did what's right for her and will for you. AckermanToyota.com. Ackerman Toyota for life.
This Susie Moore segment is brought to you by AMF Electric. For all of your residential, commercial, and industrial electrical services, visit amfelectric.com.
I try to discover a little something to make me sweeter.
You're listening to Tim Jones and Chris Arps.
From breaking my heart, I'm so in love with you. I'll be forever blue. That you give me no reason why you make me work so hard. That you give me no, that you give me no, that you give me no, that you give me no soul.
Well, yes, the big news in Ottawa today was to have been the release of the fiscal economic statement. That release was to be read in the House of Commons by Chrystia Freeland, the Deputy Prime Minister and Finance Minister. But minutes before reporters were to head into the lockup with the fiscal economic statement, Chrystia Freeland herself announced on social media that she is not going to be the finance minister. Freeland on social media saying that the Prime Minister had asked her to take another job in cabinet after delivering this fiscal economic statement. And over the weekend and on reflections, she's decided she doesn't want any other job in cabinet, so she's out.
I like how he said, so she's out, if you caught that little Canadian inflection there at the end. What's going on up in the northern lands? Well, excuse me, our own intrepid Red State Deputy Managing Editor Susie Moore is following that story and so much more. Let's bring her in now to discuss.
Oh, Susie Q, baby, I love you. Susie Q.
I'm the boss. How about that?
At Smoozy Q on Twitter, X, redstate.com. So, Susie, why is the, what was she, the cabinet minister for what? What was Freeland?
Finance.
Finance.
I believe. Yeah.
Susie, why is she out?
She's out because she apparently had a difference of she had a little bit of disagreement with Justin Trudeau. Apparently on Friday, he had spoken with her and said he wanted her to step down from the position, but he offered her another cabinet position. Like he wasn't asking her to go. But I think it's because they were disagreeing on how to approach this sort of looming trade war with the United States and the incoming Trump administration. Reading between the lines, she was not a big fan of the way Trudeau handled it when Trump threatened the 25% tariff on Canada. As you guys may remember, Trump made the he indicated he would be looking at a 25% tariff on both Canada and Mexico. And about 4 days later, Trudeau scurried down to Mar-a-Lago to kiss up and make nice, while President Trump joked about Canada becoming the 51st state. So I think a lot of Trudeau's countrymen, and particularly fellow party members, are not particularly pleased with how he's been handling that. I think they think he looks weak.
Well,
And,
Susie,
they're letting it be known.
In his defense, Trudeau is apparently now deciding to once again live in the real world, right? Versus the rest of his cabinet and other supporters.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a fair interpretation. You know, you can kind of point and laugh, and I think Justin Trudeau has invited that in a lot of ways, but he recognizes the reality, and that is that Trump is going to be a force to be reckoned with. And if Canada wants to continue on good terms with its southern neighbor and have a good trade relationship with them and not get, basically squinched in, economic warfare, they're going to have to play ball, and they're going to have to play nice with Trump.
Susie, big red state headline, top of the fold right now. I don't know if you read this story or worked on the story or not, but we can definitely talk about the topic. The headline really caught my attention, and I have a question for you about it. The New York Times just published a grotesque leftist to-do list for Joe Biden's last weeks in office. Susie, I don't know if you know what the article's about or what the list is about, but Susie, I wish Joe Biden and Kamala Harris would do nothing over the next 35 days. I wish he'd go to Rehoboth Beach or go to Canada or Florida and just take the time off for the next 40 days or so. What say you?
Yeah, for a president who spent more than 40% of his presidency on vacation,
Yes.
he's sure been a busy beaver lately. And
Yes.
yeah, I mean, they're throwing everything at the wall, trying to get done what they can. He's trying to burnish his legacy. And everybody that has, that isn't on the Democrat side of the equation that wants last minute favors that they think could possibly be assisted along by President Joe or whoever's, pulling his puppet strings is doing, they're going for broke because they're not going to be in power for at least 2 years. And even then it won't be in the presidency. It would only conceivably be in the House or Senate, House or Senate. So yeah, they're scrambling, and they're suggesting that, there's suggestions that he go ahead and forgive student loan debt again, somehow in a way that's not going to be found unconstitutional, and that he signed the Equal Rights Amendment somehow into law, even though that isn't really a presidential function to do, and all kinds of goofy stuff. But, it's a Democratic grab bag. They're just going for what they can.
Yeah, Susie, the left would rather just have one branch of government as long as they could run it and lord over the rest of the country, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, they'd be completely fine with having just a singular branch as long as they were the ones in control of it.
That is for sure. Hey, Susie, I got to go back to this Trudeau story. I just remembered that you wrote an article that was published this morning, kind of a further examination into this. Crisis of confidence in Canada. Is resignation on the table for Trudeau? Susie, do you think Trudeau's in real trouble, or is this just Canadians grousing about him bending the knee to Donald Trump, as we just previously discussed?
No, I think he's in trouble. I mean, he's reportedly considering whether to. He's considering resignation. They also mentioned prorogation, which I wasn't really familiar with, but that's basically just means calling for an early end to this Parliament session. He's addressing Parliament right now as we speak. There have been rumblings about this for a while, not only in relation to the resignation of this finance minister, but there have been several kind of prominent members of his party calling for his resignation today. And so, no, I think he's in trouble.
Interesting indeed. Speaking to Susie Moore, she's with Red State, Deputy Managing Editor, and she's with News Talk STL as a frequent contributor, host, and guest here on our station throughout the entire week and beyond. Susie wrote an article last week, available, redstate.com. A first for Donald Trump as he prepares to return to the White House. What could this possibly be? What is the first thing for Donald Trump at this point in his life and career, Susie?
For the first time in his entire political career, we're going back to June of 2015, mind you, he has a net positive favorability rate.
Whoa! Hey now.
Yeah. The streams have crossed. And for the first time ever, he is above water in his favorability reading. Now, had there been previous instances of it, it wouldn't be as big of a deal. But this is a really big deal. 9 years, 9+ years. He's never been above water. And now for the first time ever, he is. So, yeah, I thought it was kind of an interesting observation and wanted to bring that to people's attention.
That's astounding, as you say, as you exclaim. What do you think that means? Why? And Susie, that means more people than ever. Big country, right? As Kamala Harris would say, America's a big country. It's next to it's next to some smaller countries, like Mexico and Canada. As Donald Trump said, Canada, the 51st state last week. He made that joke again. I thought it was fantastic. Why, Susie? How in the world has Donald Trump been buoyed into positive territory for the first time in his political career?
Well, I think it's a combination of things. I think part of what you're seeing is the people who aren't on the far left fringe and who aren't locked into just endless resistance kind of reconciling, themselves with the fact that, well, he's the guy in charge. So, and, things weren't necessarily awful when he was. So I'm not going to just oppose everything he does and think everything he does is horrible. So you're seeing kind of like the moderate middle sort of go along go with the flow. You're also seeing a different Donald Trump than we saw in 2016 going into 2017. He is much more, I would say he is a bit more sober and more focused. And, everyone recognizes that this is his second go round. So he knows a lot of what, how it all works. So there's this sort of, subconscious confidence that he's going to be able to. And then I'm going to tell you something that I observed today when he gave that hour and a half or hour and 15-minute long press conference today. And I watched and listened to most of it. And I was astounded at just the body language, not even the substance of what he was saying, although that in and of itself was remarkable because he spoke for, a bit about the investment from this, I can't think of the guy's name, this investment firm that they're going to invest in our economy, which that was a big win. And then he fielded questions from, a handful of reporters over every single topic you could want to ask him about. Ukraine, the drones, everything. And he answered all of them. And what I noticed during that back and forth was that he seemed relaxed. He had a really solid command of everything that he was asked about. He, details to give. He was on it with all of it. And the reporters were eating it up. They were like, you could see they were like excited little school kids because they were asking this, leader questions and he was answering them and giving them actual substantive answers.
Shocking.
Mumbled. And it was the energy in that room was so different from what we have seen over the past 4 years that I just think that's bleeding over into the American psyche right now. People are optimistic. They're hopeful that mean tweets and all, he is going to do what he did before or even better. And he's assembling a team that's making them very confident. So that's my long-winded way of saying, I think people just feel better.
Susie, I hate to shift gears and go into a darker turn here, but you have just published something that is breaking news that we have to discuss.
Yeah.
I've been talking about it all program long, so our listeners are aware of it. The Madison school shooting. Susie, there's some really disturbing news about the suspect, something that I don't know that we've seen ever before in these situations. And it's going to really make some people wonder how and why this happened even more. Do tell the latest that you've discovered.
So we knew early on that the suspected shooter was deceased, and the law enforcement had indicated that they did not fire any shots. So the presumption is that this was, by the shooter's own hand. We now know, pretty sure, that the suspected shooter is a 15-year-old girl, who's a student at the school, and the one thing that's interesting is, people were assuming right off the bat because they were not identifying the shooter, which of course they're still trying to notify this kid's parents and, get information. So that, of course I didn't find it odd that they weren't identifying the person right away. But initially the police chief was asked, well, was it a male or a female student? And he said that's unknown. And people took that to mean that this was a situation where like it was a trans individual, kind of like the Tennessee school shooting. I don't think that was the issue. And Andy Ngo, who's reporting on it, says no, she did not identify as trans. What she did identify is somebody who was fascinated with school shootings.
Oh boy.
Her social media footprint is extraordinarily dark. There's going to be a lot of delving into what was going on in this girl's life that prompted her. Well, first of all, that had her with, into and inspired by, I guess, if you will, like school shooters, like the Columbine shooters, that sort of thing. Like what was going on in this kid's life to begin with? It appears that the shooting all took place in the school library. One other student is deceased, as is a teacher. And then there are 6 people injured, at least, a couple with life-threatening injuries. So it's a serious situation. It was a handgun that was involved. We know that. So I'm sure that we'll see some commentary about, gun control and that sort of thing. But
and
really,
Susie, there's a manifesto.
There is.
And the manifesto is not for the faint of heart. Adults only. And it's incredibly disturbing, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it shows somebody who's in a very dark place. And once again, as is so often the case, particularly with the mass shootings and the school shootings, there's all kinds of red flags about this kid. And I don't know what was going on in her life and why she wasn't being given help or getting enough help, because obviously something had snapped in her. But I think we're going to have a lot of conversations surrounding mental health, as well as, just the gun issue and the school safety issue.
Mm-hmm. Yep, could not agree more. Susie, let's try and finish on a brighter, lighter, happier note. We're heading in to the Christmas season. I think you're a big fan of Christmas, right?
I am.
Yeah. What's one of your favorite things to do this time of year as we prepare for the celebration of the coming of our good Lord Jesus Christ?
Honestly, I think one of my favorite things is once I have the tree up, just leaving just the tree lights on and kind of in the evenings, just sort of relaxing and kind of basking in the glow of the tree. To me, that's a very peaceful, serene sort of thing. And I don't get a lot of peace in my life. I mean, 24/7, I'm reading, watching the news cycle. So I'm usually like hair on fire. So it's nice to have that kind of reminder to sit and relax. It's got a star on top of it, to remind of the reason for it all. So yeah, I mean, it's kind of simple, but that honestly is one of my favorite things.
Sitting on your bearskin rug, sipping a simple scotch, just like Ron Burgundy or Ron Swanson.
Right. That's exactly how I do it. Exactly. Me and Ron.
Indeedy. All right, Susie. Well, we finished on a definitely happier note there. Thank you so much for all of your in-depth reporting and analysis. And we'll look forward to speaking with you next week before we head into the Christmas holiday, as long as you're going to be available.
Oh, yeah, I'll be available. I'll be around, and I'm covering a lot of those. So a lot of shifts next week and the following week.
Wonderful. You are a gift to all of us. At SmoozyQ on Twitter, X, redstate.com. Thanks, Susie. We'll talk to you again soon.
Thanks, Tim. Have a great night.
You too as well. 5:44 in the PM. Look at that, Joey. We did it all by ourselves. Thank goodness.
We got to call Chris and just ruin his governor's Christmas party.
I'll have him on in the last segment.
Yeah.
In the last segment, we will tell you what's coming up on Larry Connor's USA at 6:05. Joey and I are going to talk a little Nosferatu, and I have another question for Joey as well. I'll surprise him with when we come back on the Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show with producer Joey V here at 101.9 94.1 News Talk STL.
It's the Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show.
What the hell do you have to lose?
This hour of Jones and Arps is brought to you by Stifel. Contact your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm First Alert 4 Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton. Colder tonight, but we are staying dry. Waking up temperatures in the mid-30s. Normal low is 28. That's actually still above normal, but it's just not going to be as mild in the morning. However, the afternoon's not bad. Mostly sunny and a high of 54 degrees. It's going to cloud up pretty quickly around the evening drive, and there is a chance for a few scattered showers, rain showers, in the evening Tuesday and Tuesday night. Those look to be gone by Wednesday, which will be partly to mostly sunny, breezy, and a high of 45 as it cools down a little bit more by the middle of the week. That's the latest from the First Alert 4 Weather Center. I'm Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton.
The Vic Porcelli Show.
Well, I wonder what Nick Schroer wants for Christmas. I can think of some things, but I'm not allowed to say them on the radio. We'll find out from Nick himself Tuesday at 9:05.
Weekday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL.
Chris Arps here for my friends at Royal Banks of Missouri, a full-service, locally owned and operated independent community bank. And you know, at News Talk STL, we love live and local, and that's what Royal Banks is. Royal Banks has the highest financial ratings in St. Louis for stability and strength, and that's important in these uncertain times. Royal Banks offers 17 convenient banking locations throughout St. Louis, St. Charles, across the river if you live in Illinois, in Granite City or Jerseyville. And if you live in Northeast Missouri, where our 94.1 signal hits, you can visit in Hannibal and Rawls County, your local Royal Banks bank. Royal Banks also have over 200 ATMs across the Midwest to give you free access to ATM transactions and withdrawals. And what I love, Royal Banks offers their convenient interactive teller machines, or ITMs, that will connect you with a banker virtually and in real time. As a customer of Royal Banks of Missouri, you'll find that their personal service is second to none. Learn more by visiting them on the web at royalbanksofmo.com, royalbanksofmo.com. Royal Banks of Missouri, the community bank for your community.
Southern Armory, your hometown gun store. Come and be more than just a customer. Southern Armory, we carry the best guns, holsters, knives, magazines, ammunition, and even food storage. Special orders are welcome. Southern Armory, 1 mile east of 270 and 44, 9901 Watson Road, and southernarmory.com. That's southernarmory.com.
Whether you're purchasing your first firearm or adding to your collection at Southern Armory, you're more than a customer, you're part of the family. Follow Southern Armory on Facebook or at southernarmory.com.
Now you can fly anywhere in the world and pay discount prices on your airline tickets. Book a flight today to London, Paris, Madrid, or anywhere else you want to go and pay a lot less guaranteed. Call the International Travel Department right now at Low Cost Airlines.
800-515-2397.
800-515-2397. That's 800-515-2397.
This hour of Jones and Arps brought to you by Window World. Simply the best for less. 314-993-1800 or visit windowworld.com. You're listening to Tim Jones and Chris Arps.
Meeting you with a view to a kill.
Well, ABC News has agreed to settle a defamation lawsuit that Donald Trump filed against them. The network will pay Trump $15 million, which will go towards his presidential library, and $1 million for Trump's attorney fees. Trump sued ABC News anchor George Stephanopoulos after an interview with Congresswoman Nancy Mace last March, where he claimed the anchor defamed him after Stephanopoulos repeatedly said that Trump was found liable for rape. The jury actually determined Trump was liable for sexual abuse, which has a distinct definition under New York state law.
It's just so delicious. The winning just continues. I just can't get enough of it. Hope you can't either. Thanks for listening to the show today. You're all winners. Let me tell you what's coming up on Larry Connor's USA. Let me knock that out real fast so I don't forget. Let's see here. Here it is. Larry Connor's USA, 6:05. Oh, man, that's just like 10, 15 minutes away. He is going to be discussing He's going to have a retired Marine colonel on to discuss the drone threat. The Pentagon, number 2, claims that the African climate is a threat to U.S. national security. I'm not sure why it is now. Who knows? Leftists are lunatics. And 3, the new Syrian regime targets Christians and all women. Not good. They got a lot of work to do in Syria. Don't think that happy days are here again. Want to say quick hello to everybody on the Facebook stream. I know some of you are on Rumble, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, ScrewTube. Thanks for listening to us on all those. I just have Facebook up right now. And I want to say hi to Amy and Allison and Linda and Scotty. Scotty says to Chris, too bad he's not there today. I got to throw some shade at him. Go Navy, beat Army. How about that? You'll have to touch base with us tomorrow, Scotty. And we've got Allison, Lisa, Kathleen, and so many others. Thank you all for listening to us this afternoon. Thank you, ladies and Scotty, and everybody in Didi. All right, Joey. Nosferatu, good family Christmas movie for the whole clan. Not really. Joey, remind our listeners, Nosferatu, the original, predates all of us, even Jeff Allen and Joe Rush. I only say this because they're not here right now, so I can, throw some shade their way. Nosferatu, ancient. Was it a no sound film? Was it a silent movie or not?
Yeah, it came out in 1922.
Okay.
And they tried to get around having to pay Bram Stoker's family for the rights by just changing the name of the vampire.
Okay.
I think they eventually got caught when the movie came out, but yeah, it's basically just the Bram Stoker story told in 1922, and they're redoing it now in 2024, almost to the T. I mean, it is the Bram Stoker's tale exactly.
So
the way
it's
you'd
Bram
picture it.
Stoker's Dracula, just in a different fashion.
It's a little more updated with the special effects that are available now. The makeup, the gore is a little bit more elevated. I think this is a movie that you will like because you're a huge fan of Bram Stoker's Dracula.
And I read the book,
Mhm.
yes, as an English literature major, because people are like, what in the world does vampires and Tim, what are you talking about? It sounds like, what is this? Some comic book degree you got? No, Fordham University. The themes, when you read the book, it's steeped in the themes, Joey, of going from the 19th to the 20th century, the Industrial Revolution versus the Old World. So Dracula is a symbol of the old world and the magic and the mystery and all that in a dark way, right? And then the new world of science and technology and kind of doubting all this. And it's the old world versus the new world. It's that battle going on. And a lot of inventions were portrayed that were fresh for their time, moving pictures and all those sorts of things. There's a famous scene where they go to a theater in London. And so there's all of that. There's a lot of ancient Transylvanian history and all that and so on and so forth. So, Joey, what did you think of this version of Bram Stoker's Dracula?
I may have gone in with my expectations a little too high because of the director, Robert Eggers. He is the number one guy in indie horror right now.
Okay.
So 2015, he did The Witch. It's like 2 V's, but it's The Witch.
Okay.
And then The Lighthouse, that was just bizarre, guys living in a lighthouse, looking at mermaids, having sex and stuff.
Okay.
And then, of course, The Northman. You would love The Northman.
I've watched a big chunk of it. It's wild.
I mean, it's a classic story of magical realism with Vikings and stuff, but it's so violent and so gory that I was thinking it would be like that with Nosferatu.
Okay.
But it's just a straight ahead, by the book, Bram Stoker's Dracula tale. And if you're picturing whatever that might be in your head, it's probably that. It's like the Christmas Carol stuff where you really need to do something different with the Christmas Carol story to get me excited.
Okay.
Because I've seen that story so many times.
Right.
Just a couple of years ago, I saw the Christmas Carol at the Fox and I fell asleep in my chair because it was very comfortable chairs at the Fox, but I had seen that story.
You knew you weren't going to miss the ending because you know what the ending was.
Whenever I leave any movie, I ask myself, would this be better with Muppets, just like the Christmas Carol was? And I think Nosferatu would have been a little better if there were some Muppets involved. And if you saw a couple of years ago, Spirited, that was the Christmas Carol story with Will Ferrell and Ryan Reynolds, and it was a musical. That put enough of a twist on it that I did like seeing that one. So this one, not enough of a twist, but I think you will enjoy it. It's got the classic Victorian castles.
It's atmospheric. It's set in the Victorian age. It's the classic, right? Okay. I will like it then.
I cannot wait to hear your review of it because people are just gung-ho about this one. And I feel bad. I feel like I'm missing out on what other people are seeing in it.
What are the critics that you respect? What are they saying? Is this a critically acclaimed movie? Do they kind of go, meh, just another vampire flick? What are they saying? Is it well done? Do they like the acting? What are people saying in general?
Yeah, this guy, Nicholas Hoult, he is the guy to go to for Hollywood right now. He is in that Clint Eastwood movie, Juror Number 2, and he was in The Great. That was that Hulu show with Catherine the Great, and he's bringing a lot of that baggage with him, and he's got beautiful eyes, and people love seeing Nicholas Hoult. To me, it was 2 hours. If it was a half hour shorter or something, I think I would have liked it more. And if there was more gore, I would have really liked it, because I'm more into the genre stuff with the violence and the special effects.
Yes.
They don't have as much as I would have liked in this one.
Okay. Well, very good. So Joey gives up. So you're a tough grader, and for you, a three is good.
It's still good. Yes.
Very good. Yeah. You're a tough grader. Yeah. Yeah. So that's good for you. Hey, streaming stuff. My wife and daughters, especially my younger daughter, they are loving this Only Murders in the Building Netflix series with it's got great actors in it.
Steve Martin Short.
Yep. And the
Martins.
Selena, right?
Yeah, Selena Gomez.
Selena Gomez.
I think our greatest actress ever is in it this new season.
Oh, who is that?
Who did I? Oh my goodness, I can't believe it. I sound like an idiot. She's got all the Oscars. You know, Sophie's Choice. That lady.
Yeah. Yeah, I know who you're saying. So I've seen parts of this. It's very funny, campy, entertaining.
Meryl Streep.
The acting is phenomenal because you're dealing with some of the giants of the industry, old and new, right? Have you watched any of this at all? Do you like it?
It's a little too just dry humor or adult humor.
It's very dry.
Not as silly as I would like. I think Zach Galifianakis is in this third season, so maybe I'd like
it's a little goofier. Yeah.
But my parents love it though.
Okay.
So that's a good sign.
So that's good. I've been watching on the streaming front. We got to wrap up the show here in a second. On the streaming front, I've been watching, of course, Outlander with a
Scottish show.
Yes, we're conquering Outlander. We're going to get through the entire thing. And I've been watching Dune Prophecy, which is as thick as you would expect it to be.
Yeah.
Oh, good Lord, it's dense. It's as dense as a concrete block, but I'm getting through it. I'm muscling through it because I love the Dune stuff. And this last episode, they went back to the planet Harkonnen, the dark, dreary, snow-covered planet. Pretty wild. The cinematography in this thing is good, even though it's very dense.
I'm not anti-vampire. I love what we do in the shadows. That's like my favorite show.
Right.
So this one's not Nosferatu, not very funny. That was my problem.
Got it, indeed. All right, we're going to get out of here. Chris Arps will be back with us tomorrow. Larry Connors USA is up next. For Joey, I'm Tim Jones. You're listening to 101.9, 94.1 News Talk, STL.
Tony Colombo here for the cleaning pros at Zero Res, the team we trust with keeping our home clean and healthy. And the folks at Zero Res know how important it is to you to have a clean, healthy home this holiday season. And that's why they have this great offer for you right now. Book a cleaning with Zero Res and mention the Colombo special, and you'll get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned starting at just $129. Plus, you can take $75 off an air duct cleaning. Again, just mention the Colombo special when you call 314-474-2020 or when you book online at ZeroResSTL.com.
Larry Connors here with a perfect Christmas gift for the conservative in your life. Let's go to southern Italy on a tour of the most beautiful coastline in the world, the Amalfi Coast. Join me for 11 magical days with professionals from Conservative Tours, 5488.